Day 6 coverage from the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race Village, and this is our final report, and we're all feeling a little tense at the moment because a protest has been lodged by Min River, the two-hander, against the overall winner, provisionally, BNC Minette Leon. And Peter Shipway, yes, the jury is meeting at the moment down at the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. I've been watching a lot of the news coverage from the mainland, the breakfast shows, and there's a lot of confusion as to what it's all about. It's a very technical situation.
Yes, it is, Gordon, and we don't want to prejudice anything by getting too detailed into it because the jury, international jury, are highly creditable jurists and understand the rules. It's regarding the spinnaker pole sheeting of the spinnaker, really, the outer end of the spinnaker, whether it's illegal sheeting or not. And here's the actual rule that they're being protested under. No sail shall be sheeted over or through any device that exerts outward pressure on a sheet or clew of a sail at a point from which the boat, when the boat's upright, a vertical line would fall outside the hull or deck. The key there is the clew, which is the clew of the sail, because it's not a symmetrical spinnaker, it's an asymmetrical spinnaker. Any more than that, I think it'll complicate everyone, and myself included. But it's a cloud over the race, no doubt. So as we keep saying now, it's provisional, and the jury are meeting. They started about half an hour ago, and it could be a long hearing, or it could be obviously a short hearing. If it's short, that means I would think that they've dismissed it, but who knows? I really don't want to foreguess anything what's going to happen here.
Ironically, the two boats are berthed next to each other in Constitution Dock. And there you can see the red
protest flag on the backstay of Min River, and there's the two-handers, double-handers, first and second provisionally at the moment. But what could happen here is that if, I'm saying these are big ifs, if the jury does find that they have infringed, then they could penalise them on time, on their elapsed time, the time that took to do the race. So they might penalise them half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours or whatever. So that could change the overall handicap situation. Whether they would disqualify them outright, I doubt it. It'll more be like a penalty on their elapsed time, and that of course will affect the corrected time.
Now on that score in 2017, Wild Oats 11 was first across the line here in Hobart, 26 minutes ahead of Comanche. But after that incident in the harbour, the jury penalised Wild Oats 11 1 hour. So that's where Comanche became the winner on line honours. And the most recent incident involved the CYCA Commodore Sam Haynes in 2021 when his TP52 Celestial was provisionally the winner, but a technical listening situation saw him penalised and the race handed over to Matt Allen with Ichiban.
That's right, it was a listening watch on the VHF radio, and the jury found that Celestial had infringed the rules, and they penalised them accordingly.
Yeah, well, the jury all set up at the moment. The jury is being chaired by David Tillett down at the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. David Tillett from South Australia, a former state and national small boat champion. He won many titles with his twin brother. A lot of experience there, Peter.
And Russell Green from New Zealand also on it. Russell, a very, very esteemed jurist, and he does a lot of work for Team New Zealand in the America's Cup, and he's been in jury duties for a long, long while. So it's a highly respected list of jurists, and it could be complicated. It could take a while to sort this all out, but let's hope before the end of our show we may have some decision, but I wouldn't be confident that's going to be the case.
And of course the rules are conducted by World Sailing, that's why it's an international jury. But we're now going to hear from Jiang Lin, who is the co-skipper of Min River. We spoke to her a short time ago.
Tell us a little bit about the specific rule breach that you've seen, and I guess when you guys noticed it.
People start sending over the video at the finish, so we thought, oh, that's interesting. Then the rule 55.38 is clear set up.
Do you think it could potentially mean that you guys are named the overall winners?
Oh, I think that that's not what's in my mind. I don't know what's going to happen, but just want to do, in my own personal view, the right thing, that's all.
Are you confident that the jury will decide in your favour?
Jury's job is to look at the rule. follow what the rule is. It's not to my favor or anybody else's favor. It's what the rules should be complied or not.
Yes, so will the French boat be disqualified, and will it be Min River? We'll try and keep you posted. The jury, the international jury, is meeting at the moment. But overnight, a lot of boats have finished, and at the Taste of Tasmania, I must say, they had a fantastic reception. So Peter, let's now just sit back and enjoy the closing stages for a lot of these late finishers. And well done to the all-female crew. Elizabeth Tucker on first light. But Peter, it's all about mateship, it's all about camaraderie.
Yes, and one of the little boats we didn't see that finished overnight, and I think we've got to pay credit to, is Crux, little double-hander. 86 to finish over the line. Carlos Ados and Peter Grayson. There's little 34-footer, sister ship to the 1969 winner Morning Cloud. She finished at 11 minutes to midnight, and for a long time yesterday she was the handicap leader, but things just got a little bit tough towards the end, and then a relatively slow passage across the bay and up the river. But she will finish 6th overall in the race. A fabulous performance by this little boat, and I think full credit to these two guys as all the double-handers, and they've figured prominently in the top 10. They're double-handers everywhere. And looks like one way or another a double-hander will win the race and be second, and then they got 4th, 6th, 7th, 9th and 10th. So it's a double-handers race for sure, but to Little Crux, I think full marks to them.
And Love and War getting in the way there in third place. Well, it's New Year's Eve. The great race started on Boxing Day just 4 days ago. It seems like yesterday. Let's now reflect on this package put together by Russell Petterwood. And it's going to be a race for the people, the people's race.
Here's the defending champion, Celestial V70. Sam Haynes back again. They will be highly favoured. It's going to be one of the smaller boats that's going to take the overall honours.
The gun goes, and the 139 starters are heading for Hobart.
Law Connect has got the honours to be first around the turning mark and first to reach out to sea.
Going around the organ pipes, it was just amazing to see that. I've seen photos of other people going around them for so many years and watched it, so to have that myself was amazing.
A moment to savour for Master Lock Comanche. This boat takes its 5th Line Honours victory. Magnificent performance by James Mayo and Matt Allen. BC Mynet from New Caledonia is over the line in the 80th edition. What a sensational performance. A stupendous performance by these two outstanding sailors. His co-skipper Jan Regal, and they just can't believe it, Peter. The whole waterfront here in Hobart is overjoyed.
Dad, I hope I've made you very proud and looking forward to giving you a big hug on Constitution Dock.
Peter, I can see a little tear in your
See
eye.
2 tears.
I feel like giving you a big hug.
Oh, that was lovely.
Yes, Peter Shipway, a cavalcade of memories, and just repeating, there are 5 boats still at sea. Wind shift, Matthew Harvey is still 190 miles from the finish. I think they've just crossed Bass Strait. They're expected on the 2nd or 3rd of January, but that's the great thing about the race, Peter. That boat, Wind shift, will probably get the biggest reception of all, being the last boat home.
If there's anyone still here at Hobart, they're off the northeast tip of Tasmania.
Just crossed Bass Strait. Wow.
Boy, oh boy.
Okay, let's have a look at the tracker then
All the
and
standings,
update you
yeah.
on the standings.
Okay, we'll go through them. Stick with us here. There's a bit to go through, but I think everyone's got to be acknowledged of what has happened and who are the place getters. So we'll look first at Line Honours. We go to Master Lock Comanche first, Law Connect second, and SHK Scallywag. Master Lock Comanche winning by 47 minutes over Law Connect. Then we'll go into the IRC, which is the overall handicap prize, and this is one of the real treasured prizes in world ocean racing. But at the moment we've got BNC Mynet Leon leading, but as we know, under protest at the moment, so we'll say provisional. Second, Min River, and third, Love and War. Then we go into the divisional placings, broken down by boat size. Division 0, which are the bigger boats. We've got Aragon from the Netherlands is first, Celestial V70 second, and then Law Connect in third place, and Lucky down in fourth place. Then Division 1, we've got Callisto representing the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. They were first, Smuggler second, and Highly Sprung third. Division 2, we move on to MRV from Victoria. Damien King put up a very creditable performance. They were there or thereabouts on the handicap list all the way through. Back to black, Sean Langman's 42-footer that he raced the Admiral's Cup representing the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia and Australia in the revived Admiral's Cup, and performed creditably over there and performed creditably here. And in third place, Utspa, Bruce Taylor, another remarkable performance. Gordon, you might like to talk to that.
Yes, well, they sailed together, father and son, Drew and Dad, their 32nd race together, 32nd successive, 322 Sydney Hobarts on Hutzpah for Bruce Taylor in his 44th race.
And then we'll move on to Division 3. We're getting down to some of the smaller boats. Joe de Kock from New South Wales in KD1. Very, very good effort to win their division. Tenacity from Tasmania second, and Team White Wave representing China, a big Chinese contingent aboard that boat, third place. Getting smaller now, down to Division 4, Bacchanal Disappointing last year when they broke their boom, but they came back and looked for a while that they could have taken overall honours.
Pete, just a little bit of news on Bacchanal, and this would be a wonderful achievement for Ronald Epstein from the United States. Because URM, who was leading in the Audi Centre Sydney Blue Water point score, because they had to retire, this has put Bacchanal now in the prime position. It's totally not final, but I think they're a very good chance of taking out the Blue Water point score. What an achievement there for Bacchanal, but that is to be confirmed.
Yes, it's a very big reward for Ronald Epstein, who's been commuting back and forth from the States to campaign this boat. After disappointment of last year, went up to Hamilton Island and raced a lot of miles, and they've produced the goods. Mondo's second, Lisa Callaghan, and Stephen Tuitt from New South Wales, and Ganan, I think that's how I pronounce it, in third spot. Janan. Nigel Jones and Cam Mackenzie from Victoria. Now we're getting down to the smaller boats. Well, as we say, this is provisional, and BNC Mynet first. But Midnight Rambler, Ed Salters, what a campaigner Ed has been, second position, and Supernova in third spot. Of course, on Midnight Rambler, Tony Ellis competing in his record-breaking 55th Hobart race. An incredible performance from Tony, and also Ed Salters, now racing out of Tasmania. Then we come to Division 6. This will not change. Min River first, Love and War second, and Toucan, Ed Curry Hyde from New South Wales, another little double-hander, getting third spot there. Then the division, the Cruiser Racer division, Sumatra, Shane Diethelm from New South Wales, Antipodes was second, and Oroton Drumfire third. Now Sumatra, it's an interesting story here. When they started and they got outside Sydney Heads and their hydraulic backstay failed, you pump your backstay up to get tension on the rig, but it failed, so they had to go back into Sydney Harbour. They hovered around Camp Cove area for about 2 hours to make running repairs, and they started really 2 hours after the bulk of all the fleet really, so highly creditable to get back and win their division. So then we move on to the PHS division, which is the Performance Handicap division. These are boats that can't win the overall Tattersall Cup. They're not rated by a computer. It's a different system they use. And Cyan Moon from Victoria gets her second win in this division. They won a few years ago. They retired the last couple of years, but they're back in the winning circle. Just for Love, Scott Lovell from Northern Tasmania. They won this division last year, and they're second this year.
The Port Dalrymple Yacht Club in Launceston.
That's right. Yeah. So they'll be thrilled with that. And also Wild Oats, the original Wild Oats for Bob Oatley, now owned by Gordon Smith and Stuart Byrne. She has won the Tattersall Cup twice, but gone into the PHS division this year, and they've finished a highly creditable third. Then we come into the amateurs, the IRC Corinthian division, again provisional because of BNC Mynet is leading that division. Love and War second, and Midnight Rambler third. So two great boats there in Love and War and Midnight Rambler. Done a lot of Hobart races between the crews and the boats, so I think everyone will acknowledge those performances. And Little Crux getting in fourth position there on IRC Corinthian. Then we move into PHS Corinthian. We've got a lot of divisions, but Crux has won that, so that is fantastic. What a thrill for Carlos Ados and Pete Grayson to win that division, and well deserved. Wild Oats, another trophy in second division. Supernova from New South Wales, Felicity Nelson and Alex Sajar, a very, very good third. Then we go into the Grand Veterans. These are the real old fellas, crew and boat. Love and War first, Western Morning, Mark Ato, still out there, still 19 miles to go. He might just make the prize giving, who knows? And then the third boat in that division, Maritimo Cat Wincho, owned by Bill Barry Cotter, but skippered by Michael Spees. They retired early in the race, so only two boats finishing that division. Then we go to the IRC veteran, not as older boats, but Bacardi won that. No boat has done more Hobart races. I think her 32nd race this year. Inner Circle second, and Catabara, Paul Roberts from Victoria in third spot. Now the double handle IRC, well, we're coming into the provisional again. BNC won that from Min River and Toucan, Ed Curry Hyde. Line honours in the double handers, BNC, Min River and Packman, Peter Elkington from Queensland. And then the final is the Sydney 38s. They're a standard class. Mondo, Lisa Callaghan from New South Wales, Polputo, from New Caledonia, a second New Caledonia boat figuring in the place getters, and Cinquant from Kim Jagger's boat, although Kim didn't sail. Mike Benzick, well credentialed and highly raced Sydney Hobart racer, got in third spot.
Charles Saltus was on board,
He
brother
was.
of Ed.
Yep. Charles or Arthur?
Arthur, yeah.
Gee, that's a mistake.
There's
Gordon.
a lot of Saltus brothers, aren't there?
A lot of salt water, a lot of salties. Yeah. No, I think Arthur was on board.
Arthur,
That. So
I beg
look,
your pardon.
we took a bit of time, but I think everyone that should be acknowledged, the place getters for sure, but to everyone that's finished and will finish shortly, congratulations.
Brilliant work, Peter. And after hearing that, I think you'll need a wheelbarrow for Love and War, won't you, at the prize giving this afternoon. But look, Tasports is a major partner of this race. They control all 10 Tasmanian ports as well as Devonport Airport. We couldn't do it without them. Yes, such a grand history, 80 years and so many trophies to be handed out. But before we left for the race, Peter Shipway was there to look at those trophies at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia.
Here we are at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia with all the overall Hobart winners, models, exact scale models of all the winners over 80 years. Starting right at the top, we've got Little Rani up there, who won the very first race on handicap and line honours. Pride of place here, Freya, the Halverson boat that won 3 races in a row, the only boat ever to have done that. We move over here and we see the first ever Sparkman and Stevens boat, Rainbow 2 from New Zealand. You can see the separate between the keel and the rudder. Sparkman and Stevens were famous for that, and that was the first boat that won, and their second boat to win was here, Morning Cloud, 2 years later. Edward Heath's boat, who went on to, of course, become Prime Minister of Great Britain. Piccolo here in 1976, and Far now holds the record of most design wins in the Hobart race, 21 in total. This boat here was Rampage, and this boat here, Seal 3. Seal 3 won in 73, Rampage 50 years ago. They are Ben Lexon or Bob Miller designs. He's only 2 boats that ever won the race on corrected time. And this little boat here, Screw Loose from Tasmania, the smallest boat ever to have won the Hobart race. And here, another famous boat, Sparkman and Stevens again, separate keel and rudder, Love and War, 3 times winner, that gave Sparkman and Stevens yet another victory in the race. But as we move over here further and further, we can see how the designs have evolved. The keels have become deeper. They've got bulbs on the bottom of them. The rudders have got further down towards the back. But I'll go back one. I'll go back to 1972, American Eagle, a 12-metre design, owned and skippered by Ted Turner. Look at that design. Look at the keel. Certainly no separation there between keel and rudder. But she won in 72. Then we keep coming over here, probably to the most famous boat of all, as far as handicap and line honours wins are concerned, the mighty Wild Oats. 9 line honours wins for her and 2 handicap wins. But you can see how she's evolved. She had a forward rudder. She had a really deep keel with a bulb on it. Most of these boats in the modern era, right up to last year's winner, Celestial V70, really deep keel, bulb on the bottom, and twin rudders. 2 rudders she had. So over the years, you can see that really design has changed, the boats have changed, but not the crews. And they give you an overview of the 80 years of designs that have won this great race.
Incredible work there by Peter Shipway. I wonder how long we see a model hull with foils on it.
Well, might be next year, you never know if Wild Oats gets their act together. Palm Beach 11 gets their act together, but it'll happen for sure. It's the development and the evolution of the sport, I think.
Well, there's a very important new race on the calendar for the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. Let's hear from Evie.
This February, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia debuts a bold new offshore challenge, the Trans-Tasman Race. Beginning on the 27th of February, the race across the ditch begins with a staggered start on Sydney Harbour. The cannon fires in pursuit style, with yachts starting the race over 3 days. Competitors will then round the northern tip of New Zealand to finish together in Auckland at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, home of the America's Cup. Competitors will celebrate in style in the City of Sails. Entries close 9th of January 2026. Be part of the Trans-Tasman Yacht Race as a new Ocean Classic begins.
Yes, well done, Evie. And just repeating the news, by the way, entries close on January 9 if you'd still like to go in that Sydney-Auckland race in February. But just repeating the news that regarding this protest, Min River against BNC Mynet Leon, it's being conducted at the moment by the race jury, chaired by David Tillett. And I think we're going to cross down to Evie for the latest news as to how that's progressing.
I think we are going to put some...
That's right, Gordon. Above me, at the top of the stairs, the skippers of BNC Mynet and Min River have been awaiting their chance to go into the jury room. I've just seen BNC Mynet skippers Jan and Mihel go into that jury room just now. It has been 50 minutes since the jury has been started their deliberations, as this morning at 0900 the skippers from BNC Mynet lodged an official declaration that they'd breached the rule of sailing 55.3. We are nervously awaiting this result from the jury, as it could be the decision which decides our overall winner for the 80th Rolex Sydney Hobart.
Well, interestingly, Gordon, we've just heard that the race committee are also protesting, which means that there's the two protests about the same thing. I think the race committee have extended the coverage of the rule that they're protesting a little more. So a lot to play out for, but it's not only the Min River protest, it's now the race committee protest that BNC has got to get over.
Thanks for that, Evie, and we'll come back to you if there is any further progress before the show finishes. But I've got to say, you haven't completed the Rolex Sydney Hobart until you've been to the Customs House Hotel for the quiet little drink. You've got to pass through customs. So I decided to do that yesterday, and it was a bit like that wonderful Christmas movie, Love Actually, because everything came together. The first person I met was Tony Ellis, 55 races, as Peter mentioned. He said, I'm probably going to have to do 2 more because I've only finished 48. Brad Kellett was there, 33 Hobarts in a row, and he was delighted that Natasha Hill, the co-skipper of Antipodes, had completed the race with her dad, Jeff Hill, from the Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club, and he said that's his last at 80 years of age. And we also caught up, I took Matt Hill, the ace race caller, down there. We caught up with Mick Martin there on the right, the Wallaby winger who scored the winning try against the All Blacks at the SCG in 1980. And then on the left-hand side is Andrew Marr, who is the grandson of the late, great Alan McGilvray, the voice of cricket on the ABC. He was the boat captain on Happy Wanderer, which had 8 of our fine SAS regiment on board, and didn't they get a fantastic reception at the Taste of Tasmania. And also Mick Martin is going to take Richard Toms. Richard Toms is the CEO, there he is in the front, the CEO of the Hearts in Rugby Union charity for rugby union players with permanent injury, and Richard is going to go back on Frantic with Mickey Martin. And I also, Peter, had to give a big hug to Lisa Callaghan on Mondo. Remember yesterday afternoon in the Derwent, she was having a great go with Veloce, and Mondo from the Manly Yacht Club. Lisa is the president of the Manly Yacht Club. There's only about 350 members there. It's their 75th anniversary. As you mentioned, she has won the Sydney 38 division. She had to retire last year when she was in a winning position, but she's a great promoter of women in racing. She's very passionate about getting more females involved, and particularly young girls. So the 75th anniversary of the Manly Yacht Club, and a fabulous performance there by Lisa Callaghan with Mondo. And I've got to say, Peter, we couldn't have done it all without Dave Flower, Hype Television, Hype Production. I've had a lot of producers and directors alongside me, but he is right there at the top of the pile. And he's made us look good. He's helped us through some stormy waters, hasn't he, in our coverage for the 80th?
He sure has. It's been marvellous to work with Dave. But one thing you don't know, Gordon, I'm going to throw this at you. I went to the quiet little drink a bit later than you, and I ran into Mickey Martin, the Wallaby winger. I said, "How you going, Mickey?" He was having a bit of trouble talking, but he got the words out. He said, "If that bloody Gordon Bray keeps mentioning that bloody try I scored for the Wallabies, I'm going to throw him into Constitution Dock." So I'd keep clear of Mickey.
Well, he'd been there for about, with his whole crew, he'd been there for about 24 hours without going home.
There he's looking in good shape, but he was still standing. But I'd be very careful. He's a pretty tough old fella, Mick. So be careful. You might get an early swim in Constitution Dock.
Yeah, no, well, it certainly was a fantastic moment. Shippo, we're getting near the end, I think. We still haven't any news from the jury room.
No,
but,
or not. Haven't heard.
The time is nigh.
Yeah, the time is nigh for you, Gordon. And but before I say goodbye, there are a few other people I think that might like to say a few words to you. So stand by, Gordon. Get your tissue out.
Hi, I'm Peter G, and I owe a lot to Gordon Bray. The example that he gives every sports broadcaster in terms of preparing for the event that you're about to broadcast is number one as far as I'm concerned. There's no been better preparer for the job at hand in commentating. And in 1984, when he nearly got washed overboard from the radio relay ship, he handballed that job to me, broadcasting for ABC Radio. So as long as there's a Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race, the name of Gordon Bray will live on in the annals of broadcasting.
Even if the Wallabies lose to the Springboks, they'll still be the official world champions until... Start again.
Raised in the Sydney suburb of Burwood and educated at Homebush Boys High School, Bray was a talented schoolboy rugby union footballer and represented New South Wales combined high schools. One of Australia's most experienced and respected sports commentators with over 55 years in the broadcast media industry. Gordon began his broadcast career as a specialist trainee with ABC Sport in Sydney. After completing his cadetship, he was promoted to Hobart for 4 years, where his long history with the Sydney Hobart Yacht Race began.
I've known Gordon since I was a little baby. He was commentating with Dad on the Grand Prix sailing circuit in the 90s, so his familiar voice on TV has been there for, many years, and it'll be sad to see him go, but thank you very much for everything you've done for our sport and on TV. You're a legend.
Gordon Bray leaving, I can't believe it. Just a consummate professional, always does his homework, has a kind word for everyone. I'm so going to miss him.
Also known as the voice of rugby, early days reporting on the Sydney Hobart saw Gordon broadcasting from on board the radio relay ship Waiuna for the first time in 1975, and he recalled the 1984 race as the roughest he'd ever covered. To quote him, "It was the worst 2 days of my life, and on the first night I was nearly washed overboard. But it's all about the sailors, the camaraderie, and it's a very special occasion as far as sport is concerned."
Gordon, congratulations. Mark Webber here. I just want to say how big an impact you had on me as a youngster growing up in Australia watching sport. It's rugby union and all the sports you covered, mate, over decades. A real inspiration, and people don't realise how much work and graft goes into looking that sharp and that slick with all your research and anchoring and pulling everything together on the long tough days too. So well done. Exceptional career, and the pressure's on the youngsters now to fill that tremendous void. So all the best to you and your family, and again, just congratulations, mate, on a sensational career.
Gordon, you're retiring after this race, and my first question to you is why? Because we can't imagine life without you in offshore racing. We've spent so many races together, on many journeys, right through the skiff sailing when we commentated, and I've always learnt so much from you. I hope, Gordon, that you're not retiring, that you're just taking a break, because it's such a pleasure to have you with us along the journey, and your enthusiasm and absolutely impeccable research into every single aspect of this race, and all offshore sailors and sailors throughout the last 20, 30 years that you've been involved with our sport. It's been such a privilege to have you as part of our sport, because I know that you're so involved in many other sports, but we think of you as one of us, and we're not going to let you go that easily.
Despite the challenges, Gordon fondly remembers his Sydney Hobart experiences, describing the event as the launching pad of my career. "Hobart is definitely my second home," he says.
Masterlock Comanche in the 80th edition is first home. Magnificent performance.
I just want to say a huge thank you, Gordon Bray, for all your guidance and support over the last 2 years that I've had the privilege of working with the Rolex Sydney Hobart and yourself. Always there, able to pick up the phone and provide the advice, and your years of experience will certainly go missed.
It's been a great privilege, Gordy, to work with you as producer and director over the last 5 years. You are the consummate professional. You make everyone look good, and your voice, your attention to detail is absolutely admirable and second to none. Personally, mate, family history goes way back. You and Dad started working together in 1971. It's been great to work with you on this fantastic production, and mate, you will be missed. You will be missed. All the best, Gordy, and look forward to catching up off air somewhere.
Well, it's time to say goodbye to my good friend and one of the great sport broadcasters that Australia has produced, Gordon Bray, who's decided to hang up the microphone after 50 plus years covering many sports, but most of all the Rolex Sydney to Hobart race. Gordon, a job well done. Your encyclopedic knowledge, your trivia and your attention to detail is second to none. We say thank you, a job well done. We will miss you, and I'm sure you'll enjoy your retirement.
Well, I'm certainly going to enjoy spending time with my family. It's not the end of the road with Peter, and I don't need a tissue. I don't need a tissue.
I do.
But it's lovely. It's lovely. What a magnificent tribute there. I thank everyone for that. It's not the end of the road, because I'll be back home in the armchair, listening and watching to this great man, Peter Shipway, and his little speech there was not quite as good as his speech as my best man at my wedding in 1984.
Well, I just want to add a couple of things, Gordon. There's to the general public, things you did not know about Gordon Bray. So bear with me here. I'll read a few of them. This is
dangerous.
In 1999, Gordon had a street named after him in Lidcombe, New South Wales, the Gordon Bray Circuit. Having called over 400 rugby internationals, Gordon is renowned as the voice of rugby, no doubt about that. In the year 2000, Gordon was awarded an Australian Sports Medal for his services as a sports commentator, which included Australia's twin Rugby World Cup wins in 1991 and 1999 via television broadcasting. In June of 2005, Queen's Birthday Honours List, he was made a member of the Order of Australia for services to broadcasting as a sports commentator to the promotion of rugby union football and to the community. On the 12th of December 2021, Gordon was inducted into the Sydney Cricket Ground Media Hall of Honour, added to the inaugural 15 media personalities who were first celebrated in 2014. Beginning his career with ABC Sport in 1969, Gordon quickly became known for his versatility, covering everything from Australian rules, hockey, to wood chopping, to power boating and hot air ballooning. Can you believe that? He has reported on 12 Olympic Games, 4 Commonwealth Games and countless milestone rugby internationals, and at the last Olympic Games he covered breakdancing, of which he is a great expert. Gordon even produced and hosted the acclaimed special Swinging Through Ireland, which took viewers on a guided tour of Ireland's most famous golf courses. And I'll leave the final word as I present you with this, Gordon, on behalf of everyone here, this wonderful bottle of Piper Heidsieck's champagne. To you, Gordon, and your family. Kathy's here with you. I say thank you, and I'll leave the final word to Peter Montgomery from New Zealand. He said, please reconsider.
No, final is final, Peter, and thank you very much for that champagne. But it's not about me, this race, it's about the sailors. And this 80th edition, I think, should be renamed 80 Rolex Sydney Hobart Course de Yachts. Vive la France! Well done to New Caledonia. Will that fairy tale be spoiled? It's in the hands of the international jury. But for now, for the final time from me, it's au revoir.